Stay away from Delta-8. Delta-8, aka tetrahydrocannabinol. So I had someone close to me that was really into this stuff, and it messed them up, I'm not gonna lie. So today I'm gonna kind of talk about why to avoid it and the dangers of it. So what is Delta-8? So it's a psychoactive property that's found in cannabis. So it does get you high and it gives you that psychoactive effect. Now, it was approved recently by the FDA, which is why it can be sold and bought in almost any drugstore or head shop. And so one might think, okay, so it can be sold anywhere, why not just use it, right? It has to be safe, right? The FDA approved it. So we're gonna kind of talk about some of the side effects of what I've seen with people that use Delta-8. So one, because of the concentrated form it's put in, there often can be additives that are pretty toxic to you. So that is something to keep an eye out. You don't really know exactly what might be in this. And a lot of times too, they say it's made out of hemp. So a lot of people think, okay, there's no psychoactive properties to it. It's very similar from what I've heard is to dabs, to concentrates, to just pure, THC, taking a dab, using a pen or whatever. And someone that I know who I've known for a very long time, they got really into Delta-8. I'm gonna say right now, I've never tried it. It has been around obviously, but it was not into the mainstream until after I started smoking. This person though is about 8 years younger than me, so they almost kind of came up on this stuff. And it really messed them up. Like, they had to go to the psych ward multiple times. They were in really rough shape, went into crazy psychosis. Now, we don't know whether, okay, maybe, was it because it was Delta-8 or was it because they just have a aversion to weed? We don't really know. They could have had the same or different effect if they would have just been smoking actual dabs the whole time, but they were really into this Delta-8 stuff. And I remember sometimes when I would see them, they would sneak off to the bathroom and take a hit, and they would come back and they would just look blazed out of their mind. And we're, okay, so this person, took a hit, obviously. So really be careful with this stuff. And there's not a ton of research out there too. So we don't really know the effects. We're starting to see the effects, the negative effects of weed use, as this channel and other channels have alluded to, and maybe you've experienced as well. Remember when weed came into the mainstream right at first, nobody thought anything of it. They're like, oh, finally, thank God. Like, it's something that it shouldn't have been illegal in the first place. Gosh, now we can all get it. And we're just slowly seeing how over time it can really cripple people. And I mean cripple people. So AKA going into the psych ward or going into the hospital. I have a cousin that had a very intense psychotic experience where they had to go to the hospital for, I think, a week or two. And they were throwing up. It was just like a mess because they had smoked so much THC and there was so much THC in the system. Now, again, Delta-8 is a property of that, so it's not just straight THC. However, it's the psychoactive property of weed. So you're gonna get blazed, you're gonna get messed up. And this video is a word of caution, right? Be aware of it. I would not ever recommend getting into it over weed. And I know that with the person that was into Delta-8, they were able to quit in a very similar fashion to how people actually quit marijuana just regularly. So know that there is an opportunity to find freedom from it. And if you're hooked on Delta-8 or marijuana and you're just freaking sick and tired of being sick and tired of weed absolutely controlling your life, then that's what I'm here for. I help people quit marijuana and find lasting freedom that doesn't just come and go, and really help people make those deep changes so that they really don't see weed ever the same again. They see the consequences and they start to see the life that is in front of them and that they can have as long as they stay away from marijuana. And with my training, you're gonna have the tools to be able to go forward in your life and stay off marijuana. And hey, maybe you do slip back, right? That happens. You're gonna have the tools to get back on the horse, and you're gonna have that experience to know what life is like without weed. And what's tough about this is it's kind of like the Matrix. Like, once you take the pill, you can't unsee it, and you can't unsee how negative and destructive life was with marijuana. I know I was just wasting so much of my life just sitting on the couch, sitting in my bed, smoking weed, playing video games, watching TV, and just days, weeks, months were ticking by. It was very scary and depressing. So now my coaching isn't free. If it was, I'd have people lined up out the door. So it's $20. I understand that you might not be financially secure or ready to make a big investment. And so for $20, you can get a 45-minute call with me, and we can really dive into your life, to your history, where you are in your journey, and what you want out of your life without marijuana, and how to get there, most importantly. So again, $20, I believe that's like, what, 2 grams or a trip to Carl's Jr. So you really ask yourself, is spending $20 for potentially being able to get rid of weed for good in a short amount of time with the least amount of pain as possible, is that worth it to you? If it is, then schedule a call with me down below in the description. We'll get on a call together and get you off marijuana. So with that, guys, let me know down below what your experience with Delta-8 is. If you know about it, if you don't know about it, if you've used it a lot and you can compare it to marijuana. I'm sure a lot of people would like to know, as I was not a user of it. However, I do know people that do, and I'm very curious to know more about it as well, because I think it has a lot of negative consequences to it from what I've seen. So with that, guys, subscribe if you haven't. Have a great new year and talk to you soon. Peace.